Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is ScottReisch of Crime Talk, and thank you for tuning in. Only one major subject on the docket today, and that's Geddon. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. This is ScottReisch of Crime Talk, and thank you for tuning in. Yes, the topic for the day is Geddon. But before Geddon, if you have not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that little subscribe button. Hit that little bell to receive notifications because I think we're going to be okay. And always leave a comment down below. First on the docket, how is Geddon affecting the court system? Well, the United States Supreme Court is still conducting business. They've postponed their hearings, and basically the building is closed to essential personnel and people there to conduct court business. So in the federal system, the Supreme Court has done that, and now many, if not all, of the United States district courts are doing the same, whereby they are limiting access to the people that are coming to the building, basically there to conduct official business. Not that most people hung out at the U.S. District Courthouse to do anything other than conduct official business, but in case all of a sudden people wanted to travel there, they're now prohibited from doing so. I can tell you that's the case here in the District of Colorado. I also had a case recently in South Carolina, so I'm still on their mailing list, and they are also prohibiting people from coming into their courthouse if anyone has traveled to the following countries: China, South Korea, Japan, Italy, Iran, Egypt, Washington State, and New Rochelle, New York. So I guess those are states too, not just countries. And also, people are limited if they are persons who reside or have had close contact with someone who has been in one of the countries or locations listed above within the last 14 days, persons who have been asked to self-quarantine by a doctor or health agency, and persons who have been diagnosed with or have contact with anyone who has been diagnosed with the COVID-19. I had an initial appearance today, and it was at a jail. We had to go down to the basement, but before I could actually go into the jail, I was asked very similar questions. Have you been diagnosed with anything? Have you traveled out of the United States? Have you been associated with anyone in the last 14 days that has had these symptoms that accompany the coronavirus? What's also taking place are courts, U.S. district courts, are continuing a lot of trials. Now, it doesn't really affect civil proceedings because the judge can move those and you don't have a constitutional right to a speedy trial when it comes to civil matters. They can linger on dockets for as long as they want. If there's a conflict between a civil case and a criminal case, the criminal case will take priority and the civil case will get continued. So that's what a lot of jurisdictions are trying to do, if not most of them. They're trying to limit the people coming to the courthouse. They're trying to limit jury trials from taking place because none of the jurors, or not all of them apparently, want to show up for court and be packed in a room with a bunch of strangers if you're more likely going to get sick. And nobody knows, and nobody wants to be the person to further contaminate any one group of people. So that's also taking place. I can tell you from a personal standpoint, a lot of cases are getting continued. Just simply, you want to continue this? We're setting everything out 60 days because that's what we think we need to do to limit this. Jails are starting to let people out if they are not, for lack of a better term, hardened criminals, or if they're in that high-risk age group, over 70. They have the risk of underlying medical conditions that are going to cause them to get ill. And I'm not sure that's a humanitarian effort or if that's a money thing. We've talked about this before. When you're in custody, the jail, out of their budget, pays for medical services, and so people will have to receive medical assistance because of this virus or any other thing, for that example. They would be paid for by the sheriff. Sheriffs don't like spending their money on medical purposes. They like to spend it on jailing purposes because that's what they do. They keep people in jail. Now, an interesting issue comes about because what if you're in custody and then the prosecution is alleging that you're a bad person and you want your day in court? Well, a lot of the courts are trying to limit jurors coming to the courthouse, conducting jury trials. But in criminal cases, unlike civil, you have a right to a speedy and public trial. Now, it varies. For example, in the federal court, if you are in custody and you demand a speedy trial and you don't file any motions that toll that speedy trial, you have a right to that trial within 70 days from indictment. For example, in most state courts, it's more time. For here in Colorado, from the date you say not guilty, they have 6 months. But if you're coming up on that date, are you going to waive your speedy trial so a new 6-month period would begin to give the government additional time to do that? Or are you going to demand your right to a speedy trial so that hopefully you will prevail? It's going to be an interesting question for a lot of attorneys and their clients, because are you sure you're going to get the happiest jurors and people that really want to be there if they're serving during this particular time period? Maybe so. I mean, what are they going to do? Sitting at home with the wife and the kids, being quarantined? They may look at jury duty as a getaway to break that cabin fever. On the other hand, they could be angry and upset for having to be there. But guess what? Most people are angry and upset for having to be on jury duty, so I think they'll just kind of get over it. DAs are going to have to decide, if I have speedy trial issues, do I make a good deal so that we can resolve this matter? Courts are going to be put in situations whereby if they don't take a plea disposition after a certain date, will they do this under the circumstances that are prevailing in the court system today with the Corona-geddon? You just never know. But the issue is going to be on the criminal side, these people that have a speedy trial right, is it being violated because of some sort of national emergency, state emergency? These are the types of things that really nobody has ever dealt with before. I remember 9/11, seems like it was just yesterday, but I don't remember the impact on the court systems as we're feeling with the coronavirus. This is a very unique situation, one that I have never seen anything like it before. One of the cases that had started was the case of Robert Durst in L.A. Now, this case is taking years to actually get to trial, and now it's going to take a little longer because it has been now continued until April 6th, so that obviously people don't have to come to court and be potentially exposed to any virus or any other illness. So I think that's just an example. But that particular case doesn't have any speedy trial issues because the case has already started. Speedy trial issues become important that the trial must start before the last day of speedy trial. If not, the case will be dismissed. So there could be, a couple of bad guys getting away because of speedy trial issues. We'll have to watch that. It's going to be kind of a local thing, but we'll keep our eye on it. So another interesting issue that comes out of this coronavirus is the issue of governors and mayors mandating that people or businesses cannot congregate in groups greater than 250 people, or now it's 250. Or restaurants can't have people sitting at tables. They can only serve takeout food, which in my humble opinion is going to absolutely devastate most restaurants that exist out there, as well as all the wait staff, and that is just going to trickle down to everybody. Like I said, this is unprecedented, never seen anything like it. The question then becomes, what power and where does the authority come from for a governor or a mayor to limit people being able to conduct business, to go out and eat? This is an interesting issue because Nashville's mayor, John Cooper, had a plan to shut down all bars in the city's tourist spot during this coronavirus pandemic. Now, one of the bars, Kid Rock's big-ass honky-tonk rock and roll steakhouse, says, we're not shutting down. You don't have the authority to shut us down, nor do you have the authority to limit our capacity just like that from, a couple thousand people down to 50 or a limit to 100 people. Well, what it really boils down to is what powers were given to the governor or mayors in their documents that give them their power. For the governor, it would be to look at the Constitution, which obviously gives lots of emergency powers to governors to deal with with natural disasters and things of that nature. So prepare, prevent, respond, and recover. But when there's new territory being charted, the question is, what authority do they have to do that? If you notice on the national side, it's been more of a recommendation that people should do things because there's really no authority to say you have to shut something down, at least not that I'm aware of. And the governors have authority, but to say all of a sudden now your maximum occupancy was from 200 down to 50, I'm not sure every mayor has that authority in their city charters. The question then becomes, is this a constitutional law? Can you be prosecuted if you don't follow the law, if you think that it's unconstitutional? Just because something is for the greater good doesn't necessarily mean that the law is correct. And lots of people throughout the years have challenged laws and faced criminal prosecution where they said the government doesn't have the authority to limit such conduct. In a moment of crisis, people panic, they overreact, and they exert their authority. So we will have to see what comes from these mandates to shut down. Or is it really just a request and somebody should be doing the right thing? Or are they doing the right thing by staying open and employing their employees so they can make money and live? San Francisco, you can't be out except to go to the grocery store or to the doctors. I mean, frankly, as an everyday citizen, I would like to be able to say, point me to what law and what power and authority do you have for that? Because maybe I want to drive across town to see my sick mother, and you're telling me I can't go? Would seem like a possible equal protection argument. Next on the docket is our dumb criminal contestant of the day, and we have been able to even make that Corona-geddon related. So we have Anne Marie Tucker, 45, and Albert Singleton, 37, and they were found to be exposing sexual organs in plain view of the public across from the St. Anthony's Hospital in St. Petersburg. Now, apparently, this duo, despite warnings of social distancing, this couple decided to have sex in public outside of the hospital. Apparently, this couple gives new meaning to the word flattening the curve because they were in close proximity to a no trespassing sign. Now, ultimately, they were each arrested and charged with trespassing and exposure to sexual organs. And you'll notice that Miss Tucker still had her mask on and was told to pull it down for her booking photo. Now, Miss Tucker apparently went into court upon being advised of the charges and pled guilty to both counts and was sentenced to 10 days in the county jail. Mr. Singletary, who has been in custody since his arrest and is being held in lieu of a $300 bond that he has been unable to make, has not had a disposition in his case. But obviously we understand it's Corona-geddon. A lot of people are concerned that the end of the world could be coming because of this particular virus spreading across the world and particularly the United States. These two people were just trying to comfort each other for Corona-geddon, and now they were being prosecuted for it. But they have managed to become our Corona-geddon dumb criminal contestant of the day here on Crime Talk. We here at Crime Talk are here for you. We hope that you'll continue to flatten the curve, continue your social distancing, and continue to watch Crime Talk. In fact, we have a lot of previous episodes of Crime Talk, so if you are at home, you can watch a lot of previous Crime Talks. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think. What are you doing to pass the time if, well, you're out of job because everybody's not working, or you have to self-quarantine? Let us know. Have a great day. Thanks for watching Crime Talk.